Have you ever felt like you're fighting quiet battles no one else sees? You wake up, and before your feet even hit the floor, your mind is already in a war zone. It's a rush of yesterday's regrets, today's pressures, and a vague, heavy anxiety about tomorrow. You haven't even had a sip of coffee, but you're already exhausted. If you feel this way, you are not alone. This is the silent struggle for so many of us who have lives filled with responsibility, who are counted on by others, and who rarely get a moment to simply check in with ourselves. Most of us roll out of bed and immediately pick up yesterday's backpack, an invisible bag filled with the heavy rocks of worry, unresolved conversations, and a to-do list that never seems to shrink. We fall straight into autopilot. We grab our phones, and the world rushes in with its noise, its demands, its chaos. We're reacting before we've even had a chance to return to ourselves. And the hard truth is, if you don't direct your own mind first thing in the morning, the world will gladly do it for you. But what if the first 60 seconds of your day weren't for chaos, but for clarity? What if you could build a shield before the battle even begins? The ancient Stoics understood this profoundly. They didn't see philosophy as some dusty theory for academics, but as a practical, daily toolkit for living a better life. They knew that inner peace wasn't something you find, but something you build, moment by moment. Today, we're not just sharing 5 nice quotes. We are handing you 5 powerful, practical tools from that very toolkit. These are 5 truths you can speak to yourself each morning to anchor your mind, to reclaim your inner authority, and to start your day from a place of strength, not stress. This isn't about adding another task to your morning routine. This is about starting a quiet revolution, right in the space between waking and doing. The very first tool is the simplest, and perhaps the most profound. Before the noise, before the rush, before you even think about your schedule, you pause. You take one deep breath, and you say to yourself, either out loud or in the quiet of your own heart, I am grateful to be here. This isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's not about ignoring the problems waiting for you. It's a weapon against the entitlement and anxiety that whispers you're not enough or you don't have enough. That feeling of waking up already behind, already in a deficit, is a modern poison. Gratitude is the antidote. It's a declaration that just for this moment, being alive, breathing, and having another day of possibilities is a victory in itself. It shifts your entire perspective from what's missing to what's present. The great Stoic emperor, Marcus Aurelius, wrote in his private journals, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." He wasn't writing this for an audience, he was reminding himself. This wasn't a philosophical luxury, it was a strategy for survival in a world of immense pressure. And modern science now confirms the wisdom of this ancient practice. When you genuinely feel a moment of gratitude, your brain releases a cascade of neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. These aren't just feel-good chemicals, they are powerful mood regulators. They literally enhance your sense of well-being from the inside out. So, when you practice this, you are actively changing your brain chemistry for the better. You are giving yourself a dose of natural antidepressant before the day has a chance to bring you down. So, the action is simple. Don't overthink it. Just one conscious breath. Place a hand on your heart if you need to feel the life within you. This isn't a performance. It is a quiet, powerful act of coming home to yourself. By starting with this anchor of gratitude, you stop chasing peace all day, because you've already started your day from it. Once you are anchored in the present, the next step is to consciously cut the chains to the past. As you take your next breath, you make a quiet declaration, a firm boundary: yesterday does not own me. Think about how often we wake up already haunted. We're not even fully conscious, and our minds are replaying that awkward conversation, that mistake we made at work, that missed opportunity. We're dragging the weight of yesterday's failures into a brand new day before it has even begun. This is that heavy backpack we talked about, and carrying it is exhausting. It drains your energy for the day ahead before you've even stepped out of the bedroom. It's a choice, but most of us don't realize we're the ones choosing to pick it up every single morning. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, a man who was born a slave and understood suffering intimately, gave us the key to this freedom. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Yesterday may have been a mess. You may have said the wrong thing or made a poor decision. That is a fact. But allowing it to dictate your mood and your choices today, that is a reaction. And you have control over that. The science of psychology has a name for this damaging cycle: rumination. The American Psychiatric Association identifies it as a major risk factor for depression and anxiety. It's the mental habit of repetitively chewing on negative thoughts, trapping yourself in a loop of self-blame and regret. It feels like you're trying to solve a problem, but you're just keeping the wound open. So, this phrase, "yesterday does not own me," isn't an act of denial. It's an act of profound self-respect. It's emotional discipline. The action here is a powerful visualization. Picture that backpack of rocks, each one a regret, a worry, a mistake from the day before. Now, mentally, visualize yourself shrugging your shoulders and letting that backpack slide off and hit the floor with a thud. Feel the lightness. Feel the release. You cannot build a better future if you are constantly living in the debris of the past. By releasing yesterday, you give yourself the clean slate you deserve. Now that you are present and free from yesterday, it's time to build your defense for today. The world will throw its chaos at you. Your own mind will try to pull you into spirals of worry. This next truth is your shield. You state it with quiet authority: "I control my mind." Let's be honest, most of the time it feels like our minds control us. A single negative thought can trigger an avalanche of anxiety. A random worry about the future can hijack our entire morning, sending us down a rabbit hole of what-ifs. We become passengers in our own heads, tossed around by every fear and distraction. It's a draining and powerless way to live. We feel like we are at the mercy of our own inner narrator, who often isn't very kind. But as the Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius powerfully stated, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the core of personal sovereignty. The traffic will be bad, the meeting will be stressful, the news will be overwhelming, those are outside events. But how you choose to process them, the meaning you assign to them, and the emotional energy you give them, that happens inside your mind. And that is your territory. Science has shown us, unequivocally, that this is not just wishful thinking. It's based on the incredible principle of neuroplasticity. Your brain isn't a fixed, rigid block of stone, it's more like a muscle. Whatever you repeatedly focus on, you strengthen. If you constantly focus on stress and worry, you are literally training your brain to be better at being anxious. But the reverse is also true. When you practice observing your thoughts without getting tangled in them, you are physically strengthening your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain responsible for focus and decision-making. At the same time, you are calming the amygdala, the brain's primitive alarm system. You are, in a very real sense, rewiring yourself for peace. So, the action here is to become an observer. When a stressful thought enters your mind, imagine it's a cloud passing in the sky or a train pulling into a station. You can see it, you can acknowledge it, but you don't have to get on it. This small space you create between you and the thought is where all your power lies. You are not your thoughts, you are the one aware of them. With your mind anchored, released, and shielded, you now have a foundation of inner strength. And from that strength, you can now choose how you interact with the world. This next truth is not about being soft, it's about being powerful in a different way. You remind yourself, kindness is my superpower. In a world that often feels harsh and competitive, it's easy to believe that being cynical, detached, or even aggressive is a sign of strength. We put on armor to protect ourselves, but sometimes that armor becomes a cage, hardening us and disconnecting us from others. We mistake kindness for weakness, for being naive or passive. But this is a profound misunderstanding of where real strength comes from. True kindness isn't about letting people walk all over you. It's the ultimate expression of self-control. It's choosing to respond with grace when every instinct might be telling you to react with anger. Socrates famously urged us to be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. This connects directly to those quiet battles we all face. When you remember that the rude cashier, the difficult colleague, or the impatient driver is likely fighting their own invisible war, it changes everything. Their behavior is often a reflection of their own pain, not a personal attack on you. And science now shows that acting with kindness literally changes us on a biological level. It's not just a nice thing to do, it's a tool for well-being. When you perform a genuine act of kindness, your brain releases a hormone called oxytocin. Often called the bonding hormone, oxytocin is a powerful stress reducer. It calms your cardiovascular system, lowers your blood pressure, and creates a sense of trust and security. It activates the same reward circuits in your brain that are triggered by good food or a great accomplishment. In other words, being kind feels good because it is good for you. It's a source of strength, not a demonstration of weakness. It's the ability to see beyond the immediate frustration and connect with the shared humanity underneath. So the action is simple. Choose one small, intentional act of kindness you will perform today. It doesn't have to be grand. Maybe it's truly listening to someone without looking at your phone. Maybe it's letting another car go ahead of you in traffic with a wave instead of a grudge. Maybe it's sending a quick text to a friend just to say you're thinking of them. Just one act. And notice how it doesn't just potentially change their moment, it changes your own inner state. It replaces tension with warmth. Finally, after anchoring in gratitude, releasing the past, shielding your mind, and choosing to act with kindness, you bring it all home with one final, clarifying truth. This is the one that weaves all the others together. You look at the moment you are in, right now, and you tell yourself, this moment is enough. How much of our lives do we spend living somewhere else? We're physically in one place, but our minds are in the next meeting, the next deadline, the next goal. We're constantly chasing a future that we believe will finally bring us peace, and in the process, we miss the only life we actually have, which is happening right now. This constant state of, what's next, is the root of so much of our modern restlessness. It's like running on a treadmill, convinced that the finish line is just ahead, without realizing the scenery never changes because we're not actually going anywhere. The Stoics had a powerful practice to combat this, called memento mori, the remembrance of mortality. It sounds dark, but it was never intended to be. It was a tool for radical appreciation. By remembering that our time is finite, we infuse the present moment with the value it deserves. The philosopher Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." He understood that joy isn't a destination, it's a way of being, right here. And what was ancient wisdom is now a cornerstone of modern therapy. Science has shown that the vast majority of our anxiety is future-focused. Our brains spin stories about what might go wrong, creating stress responses to events that haven't happened and likely never will. Practices that ground us in the present moment are a direct antidote. They interrupt that what-if loop. By focusing on your breath, the feeling of your feet on the floor, or the sounds around you, you are telling your nervous system that you are safe, right here, right now. The future can't hurt you, because you are not there. The action here is to simply engage your senses. As you have your first sip of coffee or tea, don't just drink it. Actually taste it. Notice its warmth, its aroma, its flavor. Feel the weight of the mug in your hands. For just 10 seconds, let that be your entire world. This isn't about ignoring your responsibilities. It's about learning to fully inhabit the moments of your life, even the small ones. Because the small moments are what your life is actually made of. True presence isn't an escape from reality, it's a full arrival into it. So there they are. 5 ancient truths, 5 powerful tools to reclaim the first moments of your day. The anchor of gratitude. The freedom of release. The shield of control. The power of kindness. And the clarity of presence. But please, understand this, these are not 5 separate ideas to be checked off a list. This is a system. It's a sequence that builds on itself, creating a powerful upward spiral. Gratitude anchors you, so you're not lost in anxiety. Release frees you from yesterday's weight, so you can stand tall today. Control shields you, so the world's chaos can't knock you down. Kindness empowers you to act from that strength, not from fear. And presence brings you all the way home, to the only moment that is ever truly yours, right now. This practice isn't about becoming a perfect, unflappable superhuman. It's about progress, not perfection. It's about building a new foundation for your life, one that is forged in quiet intention, not in loud reaction. It's about deciding, every single morning, that you will be the one who sets the tone for your day. You will be the one who defines your inner state, before the world has a chance to. This is the real work. It's quiet, it's internal, and it is the most important work you will ever do. It's the difference between merely surviving your life and consciously living it. And if this is the kind of intentional living you want to build, if these tools and this way of thinking resonate with the person you are becoming, then you're in the right place. Consider subscribing to this channel. See it not just as a click, but as a signal to yourself, a commitment to this daily practice of coming home. We're on this path together. The work doesn't stop here. On the screen right now is a video that dives even deeper into how to apply these principles under pressure, titled, 4 Stoic Ways to Stay Calm in Chaos. It's the perfect next step for turning these morning truths into all-day resilience. Click that video. Let's keep building. Thank you for being here.